This is a public service podcast sponsored by the 712 crew and the good folks of Are We Recording Entertainment.
Fellow Americans, it is with the utmost pride and sincerity that I present this recording as a living testament and recollection of history in the making during our generation.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is...
Welcome back, everyone, to the Are We Recording podcast. I am here with the normal group of guys, plus Chris 2.0, back like he never ever left in the first place. How are we doing today, buddy?
Back again for the first time. What? Doing good, man. Everything's good here in Boston. Cold as hell, but no complaints besides that. What's good in your neck of the woods?
It's going good. It's actually warmed up a little bit here in St. Louis. It was kind of nice. I had the window cracked on my drive home from work today.
Must be nice, bro.
Yeah, you're telling me. Freaking beach weather.
9 degrees when I woke up this morning.
Are you still snowing?
No, thankfully. It's supposed to hit 50 this weekend, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Ryan, how's Nebraska?
We're doing all right. You said regular crew, but we are -1. We're minus Josh. So, in lieu of that, in lieu of his shout out, I'll shout out to Josh for missing the podcast.
Shout out, Josh.
Nobody gives a shit about Josh.
Where is Josh? Did he ever explain what his deal was tonight? I guess that's not important.
He's in college. He's probably getting hammered or something.
Must be nice. Must be nice, college boy. Speaking of college boys, from the Big Ten's 9th best institution, Iowa. How you doing, Brad?
What up? Weather's good here too. It's actually like 35 today, which feels ridiculous. And we're supposed to be hitting 60, I think, on Monday. So I'm probably gonna skip school and go swimming or something.
Go streaking through the quad.
I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't.
Chris, the OG, the original.
I just saw that Johnny Manziel is still signing stuff and still getting paid for it. So,
hey, did you see? This was probably nobody saw this, but on SportsCenter today, it was like during the day SportsCenter, which is awful as it is, but it was on at work. They had like Blake Bortles and Johnny Manziel like standing next to each other on like a scale. Did anybody else see that?
No.
It was the most. They stretched out. They made the height difference. Like the height difference is what, like 5 inches, 6'5", and then 5'11" and 3/4.
Yeah.
Like they literally showed the picture, and it's classic ESPN just making shit up.
Yes.
They showed the picture, and they made Blake Bortles look like he was a foot taller than Johnny Manziel. They literally just changed the pic. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. The girl I worked with was the one that pointed it out too.
Kind of related to that. There was a tweet going around about Johnny Manziel. He signed with Nike today. Like half of his face is cut off in like the Google thing. And somebody was like, "Man, they can't even make Johnny Manziel big enough to be in their ad."
Jesus Christ. I mean, it's true though. It's cool he signed with Nike though. Good for him. I'm sure some cool ass commercials will come out of that.
Nike was like third least likely to sign with it. I think Adidas and Under Armour had better odds. I should have thrown some money down.
Where do you find these weird ass odds at? You always come up with
gambling addiction.
The odds
it's not
that
like a big deal.
The odds that Brian calls Chris first were higher today, so I probably should have thrown some money on that.
7-1 odds.
Yeah, Jesus. All right, let's get into what we recorded this week. I'll start if you guys don't mind. Do you guys mind?
Go for it, buddy.
Devin Hester decided he wasn't going to sign. The Bears decided they weren't going to re-sign Hester. Sad day. Major part of my life has been watching Devin Hester just cause absolute havoc. Not even just returning punts, but just literally his presence changed the way games were played, and it was kind of nice. It was a weapon that not a lot of other teams in the NFL had. As in, probably none of them had the same impact as Devin Hester. I mean, there were a few years where you just couldn't kick to him. And I will be writing an article about it on the arewerecordingblog.wordpress.com, so be sure to check out for that. Shameless plug. Chris, you go ahead and go next. 2.0, new Chris on the block.
Yeah, I recorded this week. NHL trade deadline was Wednesday afternoon, and it's kind of funny compared to the other 4 major sports. There was so much activity. There were 20 trades. 2 guys got picked up off of waivers, and I was genuinely interested. Not that there were any big splashes. Some big names were tossed around, but I don't think there were any like big impact players guys don't make an impact on the team's cup run or anything like that. But it's just funny. Like you look at basketball, the biggest trade at the deadline was Danny Granger getting traded for Evan Turner, and then sure enough, Granger gets bought out, and it was basically just so Philadelphia can field the worst team in the history of the NBA, so they can tank. I thought it was an exciting day Wednesday afternoon. I was refreshing Twitter, and I was talking to one of my coworkers, and it's funny, man. Like between that and baseball, you never think that a trade deadline could be that exciting.
I think that's the first time we've talked hockey on here, actually. Am I wrong
You're
about
welcome.
that? I guess so. Shout out Canada, or wherever else likes hockey. Boston and Canada, and where else?
Pittsburgh, Detroit.
Chicago does too.
Chris,
Yeah.
I just have one question about that. Would you not say that Martin St. Louis going to the Rangers was a big trade?
I mean, I don't think that the Rangers are necessarily the caliber of team that can make a cup run. I think that they really rely heavily on their goaltending, and if Lundqvist has a bad series like he did against the Bruins in the playoffs last year, that team is kind of screwed. And I mean, they're the 7th seed right now in the playoffs, so they're not even necessarily guaranteed. They have 70 points, and they're 1 point ahead of Columbus and 2 points ahead of Detroit and Washington. So nothing's guaranteed for them. Yeah, he might make a splash, but they also traded Ryan Callahan to get him, and he was pretty much their best player. So maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But I think that trading for a 30-some-odd-year-old forward for your 26, 27-year-old captain isn't the brightest move if you're the Rangers.
Wasn't there some kind of like saltiness with that too about not getting picked for the Olympic roster?
Yeah.
What was the whole deal with that? The GM
Stamkos got picked for the roster, and then he got hurt, so they needed to fill a spot, and it went to St. Louis. And he was pretty salty with like Yzerman, and Yzerman basically runs the Lightning. And so he was pretty pissed off that he was even considering somebody else besides Marty St. Louis to go to Sochi.
That's funny.
Yeah, so like I mean, it's weird. He had a no movement clause too, so he must have wanted out that badly.
Sounds like it. Brad, go ahead. What do you got?
I also recorded some hockey. Real quick about Olympic snubs. My boy Kyle Okposo of the New York Islanders, total snub. But what I recorded this week was Connor McDavid. He's 17 years old. Some people are calling him the LeBron James of hockey. I mean, it's any good young player nowadays is the LeBron James of this or the LeBron James of that. But this dude's absolutely filthy. He's playing with the Erie Otters of the Ontario Hockey League, and his stick work's just out of this world. It's all hockey podcast tonight.
Nope. Everyone, keep listening. Don't turn it off yet. All right, Ryan, what do you got? Better not be hockey.
No hockey. I'm gonna go college basketball. So everyone tune back in. Last night, Kansas basketball had their senior night, and amongst that, they little talk with Andrew Wiggins, who said that his career at Kansas, quote, went too quick. And it's kind of a ridiculous statement because he's played 30 games. Of course it went too quick. You're playing 1 year at Kansas. It's kind of a ridiculous statement when you think about it. And the fact that he could stay if he wanted to, I mean, no one's forcing his career at Kansas to be over. So maybe not the most intriguing story, but just something that I read and went, wait, what? Really?
Makes sense. He should stay, though. I think I've said that before on here.
Yeah, I think I've said it before, too, that I think that all, the freshmen this year...
Jabari's got no use staying.
Well, maybe outside of him could probably use another year before they go to the NBA, but unfortunately there's no
millions of dollars to be made in
college.
Well,
that's just it. There's nothing enticing them to stay beyond. You could get a little bit better. Well, they'll get a little bit better and get paid $1 million next year if they leave. So I don't blame them, but I certainly wish that they would stay.
OG, what'd you record?
This is kind of going to be an ongoing thing, but Michael Bradley is now in the MLS, kind of pulling a Clint Dempsey, and I just want to see how both of them do leading up to the World Cup this summer, because they're both really pretty much the key players to, if the U.S. has any hope of getting out of their group, which might not happen anyway, but
no chance.
Just see, I know after Dempsey came over last year to Seattle, he was getting beat up a lot because some of the MLS players that he was playing against aren't very good, and the only way to try to stop them is just to pretty much football hit him. So kind of just see how much both him and Bradley can play and get beat up through the course of the first half of the season leading up to the Brazil World Cup.
So let me get this straight. Hold on. No, sorry. Go ahead if you got more.
I was going to say that just the season starts this week. Toronto, who Bradley plays for, isn't playing, but Dempsey's season does start, and then actually Dempsey and Bradley will play each other a week from Saturday.
So let me get this straight. We just spent the first 5-7 minutes of this thing. We talked hockey twice and soccer once. Is that what just happened? Are we expanding? Like, are we officially
broadening those horizons?
God.
But I really can't wait for the Nebraska ball portion of the show.
Yeah. Like, get back to
the money.
Yeah, let's get back to Nebraska basketball. We're we're out of our element here talking about it.
That is the moneymaker of this.
We need to.
I was considering wiping all topics in just an all Nebraska basketball episode.
Yeah, we should. We'll talk. We'll talk about that off air.
Yeah, we'll turn it into a drinking game. Every time Ryan mentions Nebraska ball, we all drink.
Drink!
Dead.
Drink!
Hammered in 5 minutes.
I'm doing that. We gotta add that little sound effect. Drink! Everyone do that. And every time Ryan brings up Nebraska from now on, remember, because I'm gonna forget.
The last 15 minutes of the podcast just
drink!
goes really, really terribly.
Thanks for tuning in to the... All right, let's get back to the back to reality here. A lot of rule changes going on in sports right now. Proposed rule changes, actual rule changes, all sorts of good stuff or bad stuff, depending on how you look at it. Let's start with the home plate collisions in baseball, and they're doing away with it. From everything I've heard a lot of the catchers hate it, and even some of the non-catchers don't like it. But there's the whole safety issue behind it. What are your thoughts on that, Brad? Let's start with you.
I mean,
do you like the rule? Do you not like the rule? Do you think it's
the concussion type things? I mean, all throughout sports. I mean, there's the data that supports it, but I feel like with football, they're taking a big element out of the game that's exciting. I mean, baseball, you either like it or you don't. I'm a fan, but a guy rounding third, barreling down on a catcher, and a play at the plate's one of the most exciting parts of the game, in my opinion. Yeah. And I just don't know. There's too many. They're trying to do too many different things in too many different games. I'm not a fan of it.
Ryan, what do you think?
From what I understand, it's kind of more of a clarification of pre-existing, how they wanted to make, plays the plates, because they obviously don't want players barreling into the catchers. So from what I understand, the rule's kind of supposed to just clarify that, hey, you're not supposed to be doing this. But I don't know as far as how they're going to really police it. Or
isn't it the umpire's judgment? Am I if I'm wrong?
Yeah,
somebody correct me.
I think that's what it is. Is basically the umpire has the final say on whether or not it's over the top or not. And going to what Brad said about taking apart an exciting part of the game with football and the targeting rules. The amount of plays at the plate that happen in a game, you don't see one every game. So it's more rare. So I don't know. I don't think there needs to be. I don't know if it needs to be done in the vein of player safety, which I hate when they bring up a new rule and they do it in it's player safety. Say what you want to say about it. If it's like with the 10-second college football rule, it's not about player safety. It's about pushing your own agenda. So I just hate that. If that's how they're going to do, if they're going to do a new rule, do it for a reason other than that.
The one thing that I think about this rule is it pretty much is for player safety. The 10-second rule may be based on number of collisions you get in a game or whatever, but this is pretty much because catchers were getting hurt, or not even necessarily catchers, but runners were getting hurt. And one thing that GMs probably don't want is to either save a run or give up a run and lose one of their key players for half a season.
Buster Posey.
Yeah, one of them would be Posey, but supposedly Posey doesn't even really like the rule. One thing that I kind of don't understand is college baseball seems like they have a rule that makes a little bit more sense than this, and it's pretty much the catcher can't fully block the plate. He has to give the runner a way to score, and the runner cannot, in turn, can't hit the catcher pretty much. And I don't see why, if Major League Baseball was going to make a rule, they didn't just go that route instead of this. It's a judgment call. The umpire can call you out or whatever if he thinks that you're blocking the plate before the ball gets there or whatever. It seems like it would just be better to be black or white, not, maybe it's allowed, maybe it's not.
I'm not really sure.
Go ahead, Chris.
I'm not really sure how I feel about it because it feels like there is going to be like this huge gray area in terms of the way that they call it. And like Brad was saying earlier, like a guy rounding third and heading towards home and like that play at the plate, and if they collide or if they slide, it's pretty much equally dangerous if you bring up like, remember that clip of Pete Rose like running over the catcher, and I'm pretty sure that was in an All-Star game.
Yeah, it was. That guy's career.
Right, and then look, you guys brought up Buster Posey, and he shattered his ankle and the whole deal. So I mean, the plays of the plate are dangerous as they are anyway. So I understand where they're going with trying to change the language of the rule, but I'm not necessarily sure that the umps are going to call it. I think for guys who are professional athletes and they've played that game like that their whole lives, especially catchers, they've been run over dozens and dozens of times. I think that there's going to be universal hate coming from Major League Baseball, but they're trying to please, the concussion studiers and everything like that. Yeah, pretty much. They're trying to cover their ass more than anything, in my opinion.
Well, here's what my question is. It's a judgment call, right? Like that's so. And this is. I'm going to use the Cubs as an example because I'm a Cubs fan. But if any baseball fan can relate to this. If the Cubs were in like Game 5 of the NLCS, and
never gonna happen,
then no, go ahead. No, if you have anything else to say, go ahead. Just go ahead.
Nebraska ball.
So we're like drink. So we're in a hypothetical parallel universe, where the Cubs are in Game 5 of the World Series or Game 5 of the National League. I'm not even gonna say those words. Game 5 of the NLCS, and their catchers gets called for blocking the plate in like bottom of the 7th inning or some nonsense like that, and they give them the run. Like how does that work? How can that possibly be if it's a judgment call? Like what if it comes down to that, which is absolutely going to happen because that's how the sports gods work. Like that's going to happen. Like how pissed is everyone going to be besides the team that they're playing? Like you're pissing off everyone besides one fan base with that.
Well, a good one to call back to is in the World Series, the interference call at third base. Technically the correct call. But people, were up in arms about it.
Right. Well, you're saying that's technically the correct call, but that's not a judgment call. That's a rule. This is like a judgment call. This is the umpire making the decision cover the plate too much.
That's to your, how will people react to it, kind of thing.
But that's screwing the catcher. That's screwing the players.
Backlash from it if something like that were to happen. I don't know. I think I would rather have, like OG said, a rule in place like college baseball where you can't fully block the plate, but at the same time the runner can't just bowl you over. But I would say that if the catcher is in directly blocking the plate and the runner trucks him, then that's okay. But if the catcher's not blocking the plate or not in the play, and you run him over, then I guess that would where that rule would come in.
I think that's pretty. Okay,
if you're running over a guy just to run him over, I think that'll be pretty clear.
I don't know if we actually discussed the actual wording of the rule, but that's pretty much what it is. It's you can't block the plate if you don't have the ball, and you can't run over you can't leave the line that you're running on to make contact with the catcher. Are the two things that they banned.
And I think that and if it comes into a big situation, I don't know if you'll see that come into play. Maybe they'll just let it go. I think if it's a gray area kind of call, then I think that's one that you let it go in a big game type atmosphere.
But we're not. But MLB umps aren't known to be
true.
Which is, it's not. I'm not saying it's easy to umpire a baseball game, because it's absolutely not. It's not easy to ref any sort of game. But real quick, let's move on to this 4-point line in the NBA. I hear a chuckle in the background here.
You got to shout out to my boy Antoine Walker if we're talking 4-point line, man.
You know what? Here's the thing I just want to say. I'm all for thinking out of the box when it comes to basketball, but I just want to say I'm sure back in the 80s that people thought that the 3-point line was a terrible idea too. So that's all I want to say on that subject, but I'll let you guys chime in.
You probably draw a good comparison with that, with people thinking that the 3-point shot would ruin the game, because I know that in talks about, when they talk about it in a historical sense now, people are talking about, it's going to ruin the post game because no one's going to go to the post anymore because they'll just shoot 3-pointers. Why wouldn't you shoot a 3-pointer? Because you'll get more points. It's kind of the same thing that people think about with, why wouldn't you just go for 2 all the time? You get more points. It's the same risk. But at the same time, is there really a need for a 4-point play?
Well, I think it's more of an issue of expanding the court.
Yeah. Well, with the 3-point line, you could argue that the 3-point line is necessary or something like that, because then it opens up jump shooting.
Didn't used to be necessary. They went 30 years without it.
Well, I know, but then what's the difference between a post shot and a perimeter shot?
Well, if anything, this will open the paint up and more, because if you have guys all the way out at whatever 26 feet or whatever they said it was going to be, it'll open the paint even more. But I'll shut up.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's what they're going for here, but I don't know. I think the point, they're just trying to invite more scoring or something. I don't know. I wouldn't, just because I don't like to see things change a whole lot, I would be against it, but I guess whatever happens. It'd be weird.
I don't know. It's weird because if you think about adding the 4-point line, they're gonna have to widen the court. They're gonna have to change the way that the court's laid out and all this other stuff. And maybe they are trying to just bring something new and exciting or reinvent the post game. I'm not really sure, but the way I look at basketball is that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, if teams are already scoring, like if you look at Golden State, can you imagine if they instituted a 4-point shot? That team would be putting up like $160 more often than not.
I'm ready for the first team to lose a game on a 4-point shot and one and lose with a 5-point lead.
The 5-point, the old school 5-point play.
The old school 5-point play and one on a 4-point play. You got a 5-point swing. That'd be great.
That'd be insane.
I'm just saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I'm from the same school of thought with that. I'm a big NBA fan, and I think it's not like the NBA's in a down time right now. You've got superstars all over the league. It's very popular with guys like LeBron and Durant and whatnot. And this seems like kind of like a last ditch, let's get the fans back into it or try to reinvent the game. But there's no need for that.
I don't necessarily think that's what they're going for.
Can I ask a question real quick about this?
Sure.
Who brought this rule up? Who was the?
It's just the competition committee. They're just talking. I mean, it's not gonna happen tomorrow or anything. It's just it's Silver. You know what it is? It's Adam Silver thinking outside the box, is what it is. Which I have not a problem with at all.
And then I was wondering, is this Adam Silver just trying to make his first big mark on the game?
I don't know. If this happens, it won't be anytime soon.
Because you saw, the NFL went from Tagliabue to Goodell. Goodell started trying to make his own little mark. The game. You could say that, but you kind of get that with commissioners sometimes. I don't want to just be in the background. I kind of want to do something that people look back and say, "Wow, that really changed the game." So maybe that's what he's trying to do. I don't know.
Quick, before we get back to Roger Goodell and his awfulness. OG, what do you have to say on this 4-point line topic, real quick?
You know who will love this?
Steph Curry?
J.R. Smith.
Yeah.
He can be he can run down the court next to play offense.
Yeah, he won't even have to go anywhere near the paint now.
Yeah, Like he'll only have to run the half court, and he can be like, "I'll just shoot from here."
I'm open. Hey man, I'm open, man.
That's a high
All right.
percentage 4-point shot.
Yeah. Let's get the NFL talking about moving the extra point to, what is it, 43 yards, right?
42. So they'll move back to
42?
25 plus the 17. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, 42. And that's the success rate on that is what, 88% right now throughout the league, or 85, right?
I mean, from dead center probably. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I have a feeling that the NFL is listening to the podcast because I think when we talked about getting rid of the extra point, I suggested moving it on back, and I know that no one else in the world had said anything like that up to that point. So,
yeah, you're probably right. Roger Goodell is listening right now. I agree.
So should we do a shout out to Roger Goodell too?
No.
The Ginger Hammer?
I don't want to shout out anything to him.
Uncle Raj.
I hope he shouts out his way out of the league. That didn't work.
Got him.
Ooh, kill him.
That could be like an impromptu Brian's bad joke.
That was an impromptu Brian's awful joke. That wasn't even Brian's bad joke. That was just Brian being dumb. OG, how do you feel about this?
I'm kind of on Ryan's side on this one. I'd rather see that than just get rid of it entirely. And I don't know about 42-yarder, but maybe like 37 or something. Go like back, but not quite as far. So it's still fairly automatic, but still, like if it's windy, you might not know that you're going to make it.
You're going to go for 2, Brad.
Well, question about this because I haven't looked that much into it. If you go for 2, do you do it from the 20-yard line, or do you do it?
No, you still do it on the 3.
Yeah, it's still from the 3 or whatever. Yeah.
So if you fake it, then you do it from the 20.
I guess.
Well, obviously.
That'd be a really stupid fake.
Guys, we're really attempting this. We swear.
Brad, how do you feel?
I'm again pretty much the same with the basketball, the 4-point play. I don't think. I mean, extra points, yeah, they are boring. You pretty much just look away or even turn the station to a different game during that point because nothing usually happens. And I don't know. Moving it back would be a pretty big change. Maybe it makes it more exciting, but I'd rather just leave it how it is.
I think the biggest thing that we've kind of talked about during this whole rule change thing is that if guys have been playing games, these sports, for decades, why start changing the rules now? You know what I mean? Like, I understand that there's entertainment value and all this crap and that people hit 99.3% of extra points or whatever it might be, but there's that 0.7%, like in that Saints-Jaguars game from whatever year it was, where they had that like 100 lateral play where they scored a touchdown to tie the game or to go down by 1, and then the dude friggin' misses the extra point that would have sent the game to overtime. Well, I mean, it's not automatic. It's as close to automatic as you can get, but I'm not sure if moving it back to being a 42-yarder is a nice happy medium.
To your point on saying why change things now is I think that the game is different now. The kickers are better now than they've ever been.
Right, and that's fine, but that the guys they're kicking longer field goals and things like that, but the whole reward for scoring a touchdown is that you get the choice of trying the extra point from the 3-yard line. So if you start a drive from your own 20 and you score a touchdown, why are you being penalized by having to move the ball back to the 25 to get snapped if you've already marched into the end zone for a touchdown? That's all I'm trying to say. It's like that's the way that they've been doing it forever at every level of football.
I agree. I somewhat agree with that. I somewhat agree with that. My thing is, if they're going to do it, I say do it big. 42 yards is, I mean, they're still hitting, 88%? Like, bring it to 50 if you're going to do it. If you're going to do this, like, make it as crazy as possible. I don't understand.
Yards.
No, 60 is but I mean, reward the good kickers if you're going to reward the good kickers. Don't just make it 40, because I mean, what, then there's an extra 30 missed a year, that's it?
That works for the NFL, but that's not going to work for college because, as we all know, some college kickers can't hit from 17, let alone 42.
Point, so 42 yards in college, that would be the only play that I would care to watch. I feel like there should be there should be a channel dedicated, like not just like Red Zone, but like extra point.
College football field goal. You got
Honestly, how much fun?
I got the name for it already.
How much fun would that be?
CSBXP, the channel.
Mike Borland would have been Wisconsin's extra point kicker if that were the case last year. How much fun would that channel be if they moved it to 42 yards in college? Oh my God!
That's something that would be on ESPN, the Ocho.
That would. I would subscribe to that channel just for that.
Speaking of which, Oregon center apparently made a 55-yard field goal today, which means he is the best kicker on their roster.
Well, considering they had
they don't kick field goals, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No, they had Maldonado miss like 3 crucial field goals this whole time there, to beat USC, to beat Stanford, and then another one he missed, I think.
Yeah, and then finally this year they had the Truitt Gressman kick instead.
Yeah, sorry to bring the hurt.
Season.
So
sorry to bring pain and anguish.
Do you think this change would lead to more 2-point conversions?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
yes.
especially in Chip
A
Kelly's
lot
offense.
more, like a significant.
I say you go for it more often than not. I mean, the thing is, like the 2-point play in the NFL is already like kind of like a secretive thing. Like, oh yeah, we got to practice our 2-point plays, and they have like all these special play actions and all this stuff. Like,
but wasn't like Kelly supposed to go for it every time and revolutionize the NFL, and he didn't do that? I mean,
but you can't rely on Chip Kelly to friggin' change the way the NFL is played, man. Like,
I mean,
that you were attempting.
I think that I don't know. I don't think it would change that much. I mean,
I absolutely do. Not everybody has a kicker that can hit a 42-yard field goal consistently.
I mean, that's true. I've been spoiled with Robbie Gould all my life, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just assume every kicker makes every kick because.
The only thing I guess
does
that make Sebastian Janikowski the most valuable player in the league?
He gets a raise. Absolutely.
Yeah. Please,
the Cowboys would definitely go out of their way to sign.
Romo money for that guy.
I'm Jera. We gotta go get the big kickers. It's Big D. It's America's team. That was an awful. What was that? Jerry Jones? What was that? Was that? Oh, good God, that was terrible.
Gross.
Brian, that was bad. Who's the idiot who let Brian on this
bad
podcast?
English.
Yeah, God, Brian's bad impressions. Brian's bad everything.
Brian's bad.
On that note.
Yeah, on that note, I think that's an awful place to end this. Let's get to the bubble watch a little bit. College basketball season wrapping up. It's been a pretty fun season. Actually, not that many number ones really, but a fun in general. Like there's been some really good games. Bubble watch.
Get your
That's
drinks
always
ready.
a big thing. Yeah, everybody pour yourself another one. Pause it and pour yourself another one if you don't have one. A few teams to look at here. My team, I definitely think could make it. Can make a big run in their tournament is Florida State. I know I said last podcast that I thought the ACC was up there in conferences, but after really looking at it, they're kind of having a down year. So I think if Florida State has a chance to make a big run in their tournament, like maybe win 3 games even, and maybe sneak themselves into the last 4. Because, you have Nebraska and Minnesota is going to be one of them. It's not going to be both.
No.
And even it could be neither. It's either one of them or neither.
True. Very true.
So that gives another big conference team a chance to sneak in there with neither of them. Because otherwise, it's SEC and
Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, small schools and SEC that are looking the way in.
There's some Big East schools on the bubble as well. Providence.
Yeah.
Speaking of Providence.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Providence. I mean, it's funny because if we said that you were in 3rd place in the Big East last year, it's like, oh yeah, man, that team's guaranteed to probably have a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament.
At least.
Yeah, but Providence is sitting at 20-10 right now. They're 10-7. They've had a really strange season. They played Kentucky. They already beat Creighton once. They lost to Villanova in one close game. They got blown out in another one. They lost to UMass when UMass was in the top 25. But they have another game on Saturday night at Creighton. And, I mean, they're going to be in the Big East tournament regardless, but I think a win against Creighton in Creighton or at Creighton, coupled with maybe a semi-deep run into the Big East tournament, can maybe push them ahead of some of these teams like Dayton or Tennessee or Arkansas or Nebraska.
Don't fucking say it.
According to Joe Lunardi, are the last four in the tournament right now, and right now Providence is one of the first four out. So they're right there. They're maybe like 65 or whatever, 67.
They need to beat Creighton.
They
A sweep over Creighton would be huge.
Yeah, but they also lost to Villanova by 30 earlier in the year. So they have some work to do. Like you said, I think the big jumping off point for them would be a win on Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan, go ahead.
If you want to invite the alcoholic portion of the show,
pour it up, boys.
Here we go.
Start chugging. I'll talk to you guys later.
Nebraska on the bubble. Let me just start off this little bit by saying whether they make the tournament or not, what an incredibly fun year basketball it has been for Nebraska. Because this is a team that 2 years ago could barely score 30 points in a Big Ten game, and now they are on the verge of making the NCAA tournament in only the second year of Tim Miles' tenure, and this is after dismissing their leading scorer midway through the season. But to get in the tournament, they have to do there's basically two scenarios. One, they beat Wisconsin this Sunday, and they're pretty much, I don't want to say a lock, but it's going to be really hard to keep them out if they do that. If they lose to Wisconsin, they'll be a 5 seed in the Big Ten tournament. They'll probably play Penn State or Northwestern in the first round. They'd have to win 2 games in the Big Ten tournament to really solidify their status. Obviously, it'll be easier to win 1 game at home than 2 games at a neutral site. So if they get it done on Sunday, way better for them, but they're not exactly out of it if they split this week, because they got back in this conversation with a huge win last night at Indiana. They sweep Indiana, which going into the season, did you think Indiana would get swept by Nebraska?
Drink.
Not very likely, but so that's basically what Nebraska has to do to get back get back into the tournament, get into the tournament period, because seriously, I thought they were out of it. I even said the last podcast I didn't think they'd make the tournament, and now they're just put themselves right back in it. It's big time.
Was that Big Ten or Big Time?
Big time.
Okay.
But that's B1G big.
OG, what do you got? Who do you got for us?
I guess I'll go with Cal, who is now in the first 4 out. They, for a while, looked like they would be probably in the top 3 of the Pac-12, and now they've kind of fallen on hard times recently and are in a giant cluster of teams fighting for that spot in the first round of the Pac-12 tournament. The top 4 teams get that. They're one of 4 teams at 9-8. There's 2 teams at 10-7. They have to play Colorado at home this weekend after they just lost. They've lost 3 in a row, actually, at Arizona State, and Utah at home. So they definitely need to beat Colorado. Probably have to beat whoever they'll play. They'll probably play one of the Oregon State, Washington State, or USC in the first round of the tournament, and they'd have to win that game too, I'd imagine, if they want to make it in. And then maybe upset Arizona State or UCLA or Colorado. I don't know who's going to be the 3rd seed if they get 6.
Brad?
I got Arkansas there. I think they're the last 4 out as well. Or the last 4 in. I think Bobby Portis and Michael Qualls can help. I mean, the SEC is just not very good. I mean, outside of Florida's great this year. I mean, they might be the best team in the nation. But Michael Qualls can help dunk his way there, and Bobby Portis can score the ball. So I think the Razorbacks could maybe make a run in the SEC tournament and get one of those last spots.
Shout out Ankle Killer too, the greatest Arkansas basketball player of all time.
Drink inadvertently.
Inadvertent drink. Real quick, do you think any of these teams have a run in them that we've mentioned? Like a real tournament run? Like if they make it in?
In the big tournament?
Including Ryan and his obvious answer.
And no, we're...
Do you want conference tournament or NCAA tournament?
NCAA tournament. I'm talking if any of these teams that we just talked about. Do
Arkansas.
Arkansas? I can see. You know what? One team we didn't even mention, Minnesota. I think if they make it in, they got 2 wins in them.
According to Joe Lenardi, if Nebraska makes it in, they're an 11 seed. I mean,
Is that a play-in
I'm homer
game?
all the way, but I don't know if they get a tournament win, great. But they're not making a deep run. I mean.
All right, that's fair.
I'm realistic. I'm homer, but I'm realistic.
Let's end it on that. We got next week we'll have all sorts of tourney stuff going on. We'll have a whole preview. We'll have a lot up on the site. So tournament time is going to be an exciting time in the AWR world, as it is in the sports world in general. So let's get into who you got. Some of the games from last week are still going on, so we can't really add up the records with that yet. But let's pick the weekend games. Lot of ranked action in college basketball this weekend. Big weekend. Let's start off. We got number 25 Kentucky, the faltering Cats, at the best team in the country, who is still somehow underappreciated. They're like the most underappreciated number 1 team I've ever seen in my life. Does anybody else see that as well? I mean, is that just me?
Since like their last national championship teams.
Yeah, I mean, how come Florida in football gets more pub than like anybody, and Florida in basketball they just don't really care? I don't get it.
I think it happens with them this year is because they don't really have any superstars.
Makes sense.
I mean, they play great team basketball. That's about.
Oh God. All right, let's go through the picks. Kentucky or Florida? Go ahead. Who wants to start?
I'll go with Florida. Kentucky's playing really bad right now, and Florida is playing great. So if it isn't that, I'd be really surprised.
Who's next? Keep them
I've got
coming.
Florida.
Yeah, keep that Florida train rolling.
Can John Calipari get an award for worst coaching job ever?
Yeah.
Go Gator.
I think with his little no team has been under this much pressure ever nonsense. I mean, dude, you took the Kentucky job. Like, what do you expect? I don't understand.
Not only did you take the Kentucky job, you get number 1 recruiting classes every year.
Yeah, you literally put this on yourself. That's like the Heat complaining when they did their whole thing about the attention they get. Like, dude, like what do you expect? I mean, whatever. I'm not even gonna get into that. I mean, I think the chance of the upset is there. I think you guys are dismissing possible ref ball here. But I'm also going to go Florida because I'm getting close in the standings and I don't want to lose this game.
It's not at Rupp though, so the ref ball.
Yeah.
It's still, but you know, Kentucky still gets treatment.
Deep pockets. Yeah, you're right.
Let's go next.
Kentucky fans will complain about it too, but that's a different story.
Yeah. Number 14 UNC at number 4 Duke, who just had a big loss at Wake Forest, and Coach K almost died on the sidelines. That was weird. But I'm gonna start it off, and I'm gonna go Duke. They want revenge.
Yeah, I take Duke rebounding off that loss from Wake, and it's home against UNC. If UNC was going to split it with them, they were going to win the game at Carolina. So yeah, Duke at home.
Give me the same. I'm still not a believer in the Tar Heels.
I think I'm over when I pick Duke, so I'm picking Duke.
You're due.
Somebody's got it. We've literally all picked the same game so far. Chris, switch it up. You know you want to.
Let's see.
Go with the road upset.
Make a pick.
I want to just. I'm gonna go with. Actually, I'm gonna go with North Carolina. I wanted to see how many games in a row they won, and I'm failing at Googling right now. So, North Carolina's on a long winning streak, and I will pick them to continue it.
There it is. A little bit of low conference action here. We got number 21 New Mexico at number 10 San Diego State.
It's a Mountain West Championship game.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, no, they're both tied atop the standings. So
it literally is.
Yeah, it's the last game of the season for both teams. And New Mexico won the first one, and they're gonna win the second one in my opinion. So give me the Lobos. What about you, Ryan? Who you got?
I think I'm going to take the Aztecs. I don't know. I just have a feeling about that.
OG?
I'm going to go with New Mexico on this one. San Diego State had that game not that long ago that was absolutely terrible. And I don't know if I can trust their offense anymore.
Bradley?
Give me the Lobos as well.
I'm going to go with San Diego State because I'm trying to pick up that game on you.
I think it's really a toss-up here. I mean, both teams are so good. And yeah.
Next game, we got the UConn Huskies at Rick Pitino's led Louisville squad. I'm going to start this one off, and I'm going to go Louisville at home. I picked all home teams. That's weird. Okay, I'm going to stick with it, whatever.
That means it means you got to pick. You know the next one you got to pick then.
Nope.
I'm gonna go with the Ville as well.
Give me Shabazz Napier and the UConn Huskies.
I will go with Louisville.
I will also go with Louisville. That might be the first home team that I picked.
Yeah, it is. Nope, Florida.
Oh no, yeah, I picked Florida. Okay.
All right, and the big one. I'll let Ryan. You know what? You go ahead and introduce this one, buddy. I'll give this one to you so we can all drink a little bit.
The game of the week, if not the game of the year.
Game of the century, right? Yeah, I was about to say,
maybe even game of the century.
I mean, this is like Alabama, Texas A&M type. Like, everyone's looking forward to this.
Wisconsin heads to Lincoln and the Vault to play the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Drink.
Tournament seeding and tournament bids on the line. And I have got Big Red, the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
I did not see that one coming. I will go with the other red team in Nebraska, or not Nebraska, Wisconsin.
Yeah, give me whiskey.
I think we need whiskey literally after this.
Yeah.
Brian, you want to go last?
Yeah, I'm going to go last on this one.
All right. Teach me how to Bucky.
Wow. Well, I think everyone knows what's coming next. Ryan, I'm gonna do you guys a favor. Nebraska's gonna need to pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin because I came to win. Battle me, that's a sin. Go Badgers. Sorry, buddy.
I'm not sure if Ryan's upset right now or if he expected this.
You're all not my best friends anymore.
Jump.
Honestly, though, like, do you really? I mean, I get it. Like, I get it.
I do not blame anyone for picking against Nebraska. I'm just saying,
cool.
When Nebraska wins, you're all going to look really foolish.
Wisconsin is so much better than them.
Well, it would be an upset, so we wouldn't necessarily look foolish.
Come at me like you came at Brad last week and tell me Nebraska's better than Wisconsin, please. Please do it. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I got my fingers crossed over here. I wish a motherfucker would. Like, do it.
He won't do it.
I can't do that one because I don't believe that one.
That's. I was ready to go. I was ready to go in. I felt like Lil Wayne with a beat drop and a cup of lean in my hand. All right. Well, anything else? Have anything to add before I get the hell out of here?
I don't know. I got nothing after that Nebraska thing, so just let's just go home.
2.0, welcome back, by the way. It was glad having you back on this.
Yeah, it was very long overdue.
I look forward to seeing you around here more.
Right.
As usual, that was the AWR podcast. Brad's back a new intro this week, too. I hope y'all like it. Follow us on Twitter at AWR Podcast. Check out the blog. A lot of good stuff on there. I've got a lot of good stuff coming up. I just wrote a real-world article. Chris just had something about Wichita State. We got trade deadline articles. We got Devin Hester articles coming up. All sorts of good stuff. So check it out. Are We Recording? blog.wordpress.com. And I promise we won't talk hockey next week. I promise you. So sayonara, capiche.
Hockey.